The entire scenario has changed a lot after the COVID. It is not a choice actually. It is a necessity for an organization forced to be productive, forced to be competitive, and forced to be sustainable. Viability has become a major question for many of the organizations. What do you mean by that is, the organization is making all the efforts to use its resources. It's not the traditional HR, and the HR has to have new dimensions to tackle these issues. There is a need for either there is an enrichment of a job, enlargement of a job, or job rotation.
On behalf of Institute of Management Consultants of India Hyderabad chapter, I extend a warm welcome to our Dynamics of Management Consulting series. Today, we would like to cover on HR area, Human Resource Management. I am Dr. Aryasri. I am Chairman for Hyderabad chapter of Institute of Management Consultants of India. Now, I would like to briefly speak about the context. The context is the transformation, HR transformation. You know, HR transformation is the buzzword today, but it has roots. It has its roots in organization development. You know, organization development, we conventionally teach the students, if the individual becomes sick, we go to doctor. If the organizations become sick, we consult OD expert. So today we have experts on HR transformation. Now, I would like to speak about the context once again as organization development, which is an effort, a planned effort, organization-wide, managed from the top, which increases the organizational effectiveness and health through planned interventions. Okay, and what for? To bring the organizational health and the efforts for behavior of, for improving the behavior of the organizations and employees in it. So it encompasses strategic interventions, transformational change, and continuous change. Right, and the HR transformation, if you speak in particular, it refers to the service delivery, talent, and technology. Okay, these are today seamlessly integrated and aligned with HR strategy to create greater business value for internal and external stakeholders. Now, I would like to introduce our speaker today, the expert. He is a renowned management consultant, and he is a former HRD, former regional director of National Productivity Council, Hyderabad. He is let me read out his profile. He was associated with National Productivity Council in India, which is under the Department of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. He worked there for 35 years and he retired as Director, Behavioral Sciences and Regional Director of National Productivity Council. He was also former Deputy Secretary General of FAPSI, and he was member Secretary and Vice President of Chamber of Commerce for Iran Trade Promotion, Hyderabad. He got specialized training in Japanese management and communication within the enterprises and APO Tokyo, Japan. As a consultant, he has done a lot of assignments when he was with the National Productivity Council and also later. He is specialized in HRD systems designing, OD for organization development, effectiveness, and process consultancy. Okay, and he has handled many international projects such as he was a member of Indo-Yugoslavia project on participative management and self-management. As a UNIDOC expert, he visited Sri Lanka, Colombo. As HR expert, he visited Riyadh and Muscat. As APO technical expert, HR expert, he visited Fiji and Taipei, Taiwan. and he led business delegations to train and to Iran and Ivory Coast, West Africa. So he has a long list of very impressive profile. I would like to invite Dr. Alaparti Sudarshan Kumar. Sir also is a member of IMCI. Also, he is our Hyderabad chapter executive council member. Sudarshan sir, I welcome you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for accepting our invitation. And as a HRD expert, okay, you know, HRD has undergone a lot of changes, particularly after COVID. Okay, today we are in the new normal. And you have so many issues in the sense, hybrid system of working, remote working, right? And employee well-being is a major concern at work. So in the context of this, I would like to invite you to share your thoughts on what is HRD and what is its importance in the new normal.
Really very relevant question indeed when we are talking about the post-COVID era and that too concerned with the HR area. It is true, sir, the entire scenario has changed a lot after the COVID, and the organizations, how they have gone down and gone into losses, and viability has become a major question for many of the organizations, not only a semi-sector, even large organizations also. Actually, the changes, yes, we have been going through, and what the demand it is, posing to the industry today is, it is not a choice actually. It is a necessity for an organizations.
We are forced
to be productive, forced to be competitive, and forced to be sustainable.
Yes. Well,
these three are essential. Earlier you are having a choice, non-productive also, but it's not. It has to be productive, it has to be competitive, it has to be sustainable it is. But these three, the factors, if an organization has to apply, then there comes the need for an HR application. How we say is, when we say an organization as a productive organization, what do you mean by that is, the organization is making all the efforts to use its resources optimally, optimum utilization of the resources, which includes people again. So how do you use the people more optimally is required to the situation and extent possible the giving the best to the organization. So that is one aspect. When we are talking about sustainability and competitiveness today, the organizations have to go through a lot of major changes in terms of technology applications, in terms of structure, in terms of systems and procedures, and in terms of the mindset of the people. So these are the areas again when you are looking at, again that means it's not the traditional HR, and the HR has to have new dimensions to tackle these issues. In the introduction you mentioned about the post-COVID, the people have to work from the home, that the burning out of the people was too much, and the mental stress and strain were much more. So there is a need for a stress relief of the people. And if you are looking, one more is an impact of social and economic factors also had a major impact on the employee and also to the organization.
Well said.
So that means if the person is not only technically competent, making him competent, that means there are certain things required inside the organization which needs an HRD intervention. Is if the organization structure is changing, naturally it is mostly proposed as a lean organizations, not as so big organizations, because higher the technology, the limited structure has to be there. But at the same time, the higher the technology, it demands for higher competency, higher accuracy. So that means the people role is not diminishing. Actually, people role is really enhancing it is. You require a more competent people, and more than that, the speed is required. Speed is the essence of success. So these changes has to be brought in. In addition to that, there is a need for mentoring. There is a need for a work-life balancing of the people. So you look at all these factors, they require connected to the people and making them to be high performance, and there you require certain interventions from the HR. So that's why it is a much more relevant in today's context in the new normal as a HR. And another thing is HR was a supportive function earlier, but now it is one of the major functions, line function of an organization it is. So that is the context in which we should address the HR issue in today's. So the one more factor I would like to tell the importance of HR is, internally when we are talking about this organizational roles of the people, when you are bringing in technologies, people, there is a need for either there is a enrichment of a job, enlargement of a job, or job rotation to fit them, because people we can enlargement, enrichment, and job rotation.
Very good.
Because the people are there, they have been working with organizations, and they may not be really suitable with the new technology, but it doesn't mean they are not required to the organization, because they have spent their life in the organization, they have given their best to the organizations. And these people, how to make them fit into the new setup with a new technology? So that is more economical and
optimal way of looking
optimal way, when you use the word productive, yes. Optimal is the word.
Yes.
Has to be, because using the present people, because that is also the responsibility of the organizations. So these factors when we are looking at also, it requires on how to bring about these updation of the skills and upskilling of the people. And along with, most important is from a HR angle, that make them willingly doing it. That means motivational aspect. So your counseling, your mentoring, all these things requires much more at this juncture in the new normal than the pre-COVID era like that it is. Sir.
Thank you, sir. Now, what is the scope for HR consultancy and HR or OD interventions?
Yes. Sir, when you talk about an intervention, intervention is nothing but you introduce in between.
Yes.
In between. Actually, when you are introducing it, that is only for betterment of the process. The betterment of the process.
The doctor gives injection.
Yes, in between.
So OD specialist gives intervention.
It
could be
strategic intervention, and OD intervention is a more structured.
Structured, yes.
The structured way of introducing the change. And mainly, there are mainly one thing, sir, here. Earlier we were working in mostly in individual focus organizations, but after COVID, when you are talking about a lean organization, when you are talking about a high competitiveness and high sustainability, you cannot operate on an individual basis. You have to work in teams. The teamwork culture development, when we are talking about, it has to be a behavioral process. So there you require most of an OD interventions.
Very good. Behavioral process, yes.
Behavioral process it is. Yes. That's why you require OD interventions to make these organizations to have the change.
Sir, as a consultant, you have given many interventions. You would have implemented many, top management might have implemented your suggestions, and they have delivered desired results also.
Yes.
I wish to know in brief, like one or two interventions or case studies, whatever you think appropriate, so that we can understand how the interventions are put to work and they deliver results.
Right, sir. Actually, this is the really learning point for the people also. And because all organizations might have not gone through, because cannot afford certain organizations because they are struggling with the day-to-day challenges. And some of the organizations, they could afford and they are able to see the positive results. Actually, some of the areas I would like to mention, the consultancy areas which were done. So when we are talking about an individual and versus team building and all, it is. One is mostly in a manufacturing organizations, there is the basic tug of war, we can say, is between the production and maintenance. Each one blaming the other and for their deficiencies and failures.
Yes.
And bigger the organization, more bigger the problem it is.
True.
So bringing alignment between these two functions makes the organization much more productive.
Correct.
It is actually supplementary. It is to each other. That is the reason we have to change from a product management to process management. What we require is an end result.
Correct.
Either you deliver as a product operations man or a maintenance man or a stores man, and blaming others have not done it is not the criteria. At the end of the day, whether the product is delivered or not.
Product managers and process managers should become
So the
a team.
all the process managers, HODs, have to work together
As a team.
as a team. So that is most important thing. So that means there is an area available for OD intervention
Yes.
to bring these major factors of the functions of the organization working together and get the synergy to the organization.
Yes.
So that is one area, sir. The second one is the most important thing in today is there are bigger organizations are there, a group of organizations. You are having companies in different places, different product manufacturings, big organizations I am talking about. What is happening is you are having a unit in Hyderabad and you are having a unit in Chennai. There are many differences in between, and the people in Chennai may not be knowing what you are doing. And some of the people, you may be having an excess people in certain roles here, and there is a shortage of people there. The technology upgradation is more in Hyderabad but not in Chennai or Bangalore or Calcutta, wherever you are having branches and different products and all. That's the reason. Actually, the beautiful example what we can see is when Aditya Birla group has become, after the Kumar Mangalam Birla has taken over. One small example is how they can generate the synergies. He has introduced, when you are meeting in a Birla group of, Aditya Birla group of people, you are coming from Colombo, I am in Hyderabad, you introduce to each other, but at the same time, you both do not know. We both are belonging to the same, the parent body. So what he has done is, only one thing he has done is, he has introduced a visiting card, and that their logo is called a rising sun. Aditya. Aditya is sun, it is.
Yes.
So when you are exchanging the card, then you know, you are also from Aditya Birla and I am also. So there is a oneness felt among the people working across the state and across the country and across the
Geographies.
geographies it is. So that opened the many avenues. Then what was done is, it is one organization, then there may be one organization doing much better than the other organization irrespective of the product. Then what they have done is, then a HRD assessment, not an audit actually, once in 2 years. That is a beautiful intervention it is. So every 2 years, all the units, certain management parameters, a third party, a consultant, corporate HR consultant will be doing an assessment and seeing the perception of the people towards those factors. So those factors which got in the highest points, for example in X unit, the participative management is very high. The leadership is very positive. High scoring has come in one unit, and one of their units, it has come only to 20 to 30%. Then immediately at the end of the survey outcome, this used to be circulated and telling, these are the benchmarks for the next 2 years, the highest scoring. All the units have to reach towards this direction. That means it becomes a direction to the other units. Why you could not reach high score and what are the impediments? And if you want, you can go and visit that organization. Inter-organizational mobility, visibility, assessment, interaction, learning from their own people, which was not done earlier.
Wonderful.
That was a beautiful intervention. So that became every 2 years. I think you know it. Aditya Birla has brought out the world-class manufacturing cell initially, which made an ordinary units of their own into an extraordinary units after introducing this world-class manufacturing cells, making them to convert, and internal benchmarking continuously it was trying to be improved, and it was a graph growing continuously. That's how the organizations have done. That is one of the most beautiful experiments done, and glad to say that we used to assess once in 2 years, help the HR studies for some of the units of Aditya Birla Group. That's a beautiful exercise. One of the multinationals, it was a very short 400 people, but creating around 4,000 crores of rupees, and all young executives traveling across the globe and all. So everything used to look very, very healthy outside, and so that organization, but after some time the the performance and profit margins started coming down. The CEO is one of the best CEOs, Harvard type of a person. So could not really guess what was the problem. Then an organization health assessment study was done.
Health assessment, yes.
Health assessment study is one of the other consultancy areas. We can comfortably do that. I have done it, and as a third person, getting into, it's not just an interview of the people, it is just getting the confidence of the people and interacting with them, and which then which many of the times they themselves don't know that they got that feeling. It will be bringing out them. And across these 400 people, when we have found out, we found there is a gap between the marketing, production, finance and materials. Because you go globally and get the order, you agree for any order, $1 million of an order, and just pass on to the production, and this has to be delivered by December 15th. But here the organization got limitations. Material procurements, financial, the funding problem it is. So the machinery lines, how many are available, and what is the real technology available, or outside jobbing has to be done. Number of issues are there, but their job is only the getting orders, and production says we are not able to meet that, and material, they blame the material is not able to be supplying, and vice versa it was going on. And a small organization.
Yes.
And but when they meet outside, the very, very pleasant atmosphere, but internal currents were not understood. So for that, there is one beautiful intervention was done. It is called as a functional expectation mapping.
Functional expectation mapping.
Beautiful. First time it was done. So what we said is a CEO's presence is a must. Any decision in an organization, mostly in a private organization, including a public sector also, it has to be top driven. Otherwise, the interventions will not have implementation and get a result. So his presence is required. So each one was asked, what is the problem for you from your internal customer? Similarly, all four, they have listed these are the problems. Though in the presence of the CEO, two departments were called and these issues were raised before them, and both should agree for a certain common point which is beneficial to the organization, though it may be difficult for them. Either it is an individual lack of competency or it is an organizational deficiency. If it is an organizational deficiency, CEO will take a decision. If it is an individual, this thing you both cannot fight and you have to organize. If it is not 5th, you will be able to give a report only on 8th. These 3 days you have to keep it in mind when you are committing to the. So similarly, a time frame is fixed. Actions to be taken by each department, and CEO's input is identified. So over a period of 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, a plan was prepared and it was monitored rigorously and monitored periodically every month and every bi-monthly and also quarterly. And within a period of nearly within a year, the profits have gone up too. More than that, actually it has become a much more real team than it appeared to be earlier.
Very good, very good.
So that has led to the sustainability of an organization, that never they looked back and it continued for the changes and all. That is one of the most beautiful experiment. And in a OD type of a thing when you are talking about, that is one of the most beautiful things which was done. So these are some of the areas, sir.
These are great areas, sir.
Yes.
Functional health assessment and organizational
Internal benchmarking.
internal benchmarking,
Yes.
and process and process teams and product teams becoming a teamwork and
Yes.
together trying to solve the problem. These are all wonderful
One
examples.
experiment on team building culture development.
Team building culture development.
In one of the power sector organizations in the country, major power sectors, spread across the country, 5 units, thousands of people working. In that, the problem is again maintenance and operations, production it is. So first time they felt it is enough, and but they felt future, but particularly a power sector, because that is adding the value to the productivity of an item.
Yes.
So what makes a difference between a product which is cheaper and best in some other country and in India at a point of time? The cost of power getting into a per unit Consumption it is. So our was very, very high. So we cannot afford to rise the tariff of power, particularly for an organizational point of view. Manufacturing process it is. So that has to be optimized and stabilized also. So for that, what was done is the organization was very serious, the top man and the corporate HR people. So when we were having series of meetings, then basically preliminary study, diagnostic studies were done as a part of consultancy. The issues were identified. Now how to bring in a change? The mega organization and the period is set as next 2 years to 5 years.
Time bound.
Time frame. Next sets are who should be considered as a group, target group for introducing this OD intervention. Then there was a lot of discussions, and at the end, suppose you identify a target group who are around 55, 56 senior people who are going to retire within next 2 years. That's not going to be. At the same time, you are taking the people who are just joined the organization. That is too long a time, and they cannot bring in the change.
Too early for them.
So what they said is minimum around 20 years of an experience and a minimum at least 6 to 7 years of service is left. This sort of a group has to be identified, and adding to that their training track record, their performance record, their positiveness, all these data bank, whatever is available in the organization. Basing on that, the target group in each of the units, some 25 people to be selected.
Okay.
Either in the cadre of the DGM level or a chief manager level, because who can understand, implement and influence.
Who has to build a cat like that.
So that was done. So 25 people in 5 centers, 125 people were identified.
Wonderful.
Then 1 year our consultants spent inside the organization and prepared a case studies of actual incidents of differences, problems happened in between. Operations and maintenance issues, practical issues happened in the organization. They were recorded as case studies and they were used to be used in the program. Then a 5-day application programs were designed in all the 5 centers and covering 25 people. And each 25 people, among them, the 5 modules were given, and 25 people, out of which 5 people will be becoming experts in these 5 modules. At the end of the program, training kits were given.
Wow.
And those 5 will be the trainers for taking down the line for another 25 people. Like that, each center 5 programs were done, so that all the 25 people in a batch of 5, they will become training of trainers for bringing about a thing. That means they are the change agents. So 5 into 5, 25 programs were designed.
Multiplier effect.
And each one, ultimately the end result is 25 trainers in each of the unit. And their schedules were drawn for the next 2 years, at what time they should train the other next 20 people, 25 people like that.
Very good.
It was monitored very rigorously by the top management. And believe it or not, at the end of the 2nd year, 3rd year, 4th year, nearly 60 to 70% of the grievances have come down and productivity has gone up.
Excellent.
And vibration can be seen in the organization. Earlier they were blaming each other. Now they were combiningly addressing the issues.
That's wonderful.
So that is the one of the real, the beautiful body.
Excellent, sir. Excellent, sir. Now, coming to IT industry and scope for HR consulting. Some areas, wherever you are.
No, sir. That's a very good area. And here, I think there are 2 things which are, visible to the people in the IT industry. I think our technology experts also can highlight it later when they are talking about it. One is the high turnover. I think all over the world around 18% is the turnover in the IT industry. And these people, burnout of the people.
Burnout, yes.
Burnout of the people because of the working from the home. So these are the 2 major issues were affecting the organization. And teamwork is an essential factor in IT industry. So what was thought is, actually when you are working over a period of time, the individual becomes connected to that project, what he is doing at that. He is a project leader, team leader, you call them, no?
At that point of time.
He will be focusing on that. And except that, nothing else will be there. He is not really concerned about the total organization. I think this topic was discussed at various platforms, and ultimately what they thought is, in each company when you are working in different groups operating, one of the IT companies. And you will also know, because of your frequent regular assessments and all when you are doing it, who are the top performing teams, who are the best performing teams. So out of the, suppose 10 groups are working, out of that you take 2 to 3 groups. And their leaders are there, that means they are able to manage the teams much more effectively, deliver the goods to the highest customer satisfaction, whatever the parameters, criteria you kept it. Once you are selecting it, and those 1, 2, 3 groups, depending upon the size of the organization, they will be given an entrepreneurial training. Entrepreneurial training to these top groups of an organization, and with the consent of the
Top management.
the top man always will be there. And then they will be given some sort of an empowering them, telling the business generation is not by the company. And since you have been interacting for the last nearly 15 years and leading the groups, and you know the customer and customer issues and problems related to that, now it is given a chance to you whether you can generate as a team basing on your previous performance. And once you generate that, the entire team, if they deliver it within the time frame and within the speculated terms and conditions, there is a certain percentage of incentive to the entire group. Entire group it is, not an individual. So once one group takes up that and performs, because it is given an opportunity in the company, it is already performing, and it has acquired a project, it is also delivering like the main company, but it will be operating within the framework of the total company only, not deviating or breaking any part of it. And that becomes a really motivating factor for other groups to enhance their performance levels. So over a period of time, what happens, instead of one organization generating a business, the 2, 3 groups inside the organizations also contribute to the business generation and delivering that.
Yes.
Their visibility will go, and employee morale and motivations will go to the next level section. Because you are a high performing team, and for that you have to give some recognition, reward systems. So whatever you introduce in that is up to the organization to sustain the motivational levels, and so that is again a HR intervention and
Yes.
input is required. So continuously monitoring it and bringing in some sort of vibrations inside the organization, and bringing in some sort of joys to the people who have been working, and empowering the members to perform at the next levels and owning the responsibility, and it makes the organization. Now those people will never leave the organization. Your turnover of the companies will definitely minimize, because this opportunity he will not get anywhere when you go. He becomes almost he is operating like a owner of the company, though he is
Totally empowered and
totally empowered it is.
Yes.
So this is one of the things which requires a lot of, again, concern from the HR point of view.
Wonderful.
Into the IT industry is concerned, because their issues are different, the nature of ambience is different, and working cultures are different. So keeping in those things, normal motivational issues and recognition reward systems and all may not work, which may not be possible in a manufacturing sector and in service sector, but particularly in IT industry, there is a possibility to be considered these options. I feel it is.
Excellent, sir. Thank you very much. You have given a wide spectrum of the entire OD consulting, HR transformation. You have covered the individual, team level, organization level, and inter-organizational within the same group. And these are all and functional health assessment and high performance work culture. You have covered all the important aspects what I expected to discuss, and particularly for the attention of the youngsters who are viewing this from IT industry. And also I'm very impressed with the point that you said there's a lot of opportunity for these youngsters to enter into consulting. And as a management consultant, I would like to invite all the youngsters to take certification in management consulting. And certification management consulting tells you how to approach a client and how to understand his requirements and how to offer your services. We teach you all this, okay? Like any other certificate, this certification will help you in making a career shift also. particularly those who are,
Adding to that point, sir,
Sir.
actually since we are organizing from the IMCA,
yes, I am.
Institute of Management Consultants of India,
Yes,
and I can propose basically, I'm from
Please,
the
sir.
consultancy organization,
Please,
is
sir.
the youngsters who are coming from all B schools or
Yes.
MBA graduates and who are interested in
yes,
getting into the consultancy area.
yes,
So from IMCA side, so we can comfortably provide a module like methodology of consultancy.
Methodology of consultancy.
If they want it. So I would
in
prefer-
fact, this methodology, if they are mastering, they get certification also.
Yes, and linking to that,
Yes.
prerequisite type of a thing we can do.
Yes.
So we can comfortably.
It's a great idea, sir.
Yes.
We'll implement it.
Definitely we can do that, sir.
Sir, on behalf of Institute of Management Consultants of India, Hyderabad chapter, I thank you profusely for your time and for your intellectual inputs, and we look forward to have you on our studio more frequently.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, and
Thank you.
hope that the inputs will be useful to the young generation, and always they can interact.
You have
with
well
us.
illustrated all your experience. It's a glimpse of your expertise.
It is a pleasure in sharing, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.